things it affects. Dan Kanamwa joins us on the phone line. He's the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. David Agbuado is also the PR of the Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana. We'll tell you the full story. These gentlemen will help us. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let me begin this with you, Mr. Agbuado. You have, not you as a first person singular, but you and your grouping have said that from Monday we will pay 15% more for what we already consider as cutthroat prices or rates for transportation. Why do you want to do that?
The reason why we are doing that is four. The first reason is fuel price is up. The second reason is lubricants are also up. Spare parts are up. The cost of cars too are up. It is five components that we use determine transport fares. Among that five, four is up. It's only one that is still at where it is. And it has necessitated that from Monday, we should increase our transport fare by 15%.
And do you think that it is fair? 15%?
15% is at the low key. Because we increased the transport fare in April.
92.7.
In April, when you go to market to go and buy engine, for instance, for a Sprinter bus, we have three categories of Sprinter engines in the market. One is known as Scion. The other one is Scion, and then the Sprinter engine itself known as Electronics, and the third one is Redstone. Redstone was the old currency, 170,000 cedis. That's 17,000. But as I speak with you, within a period of 3 months, it's 240 million. That's 240 million, the old currency. And the Sprinter engine itself it was 320, now 420 million.
Wow.
Within a period of 3 months. Where are we getting that money from? It is buy and sell that we do. We buy all these components and sell it to the consumers that are the transporters. And that is what we are doing. It will go up. So we must share it on this for them to pay. And that is what we are doing we are starting on Monday. That we will share the cost on it for them or our customers to pay.
I see. Ms. Amma, let me bring you into the conversation. We once upon a time had gold for oil, and we all jumped at it because the vice president assured us that it was going to drop fuel prices. And the conversations, like David has just said, around town is that fuel has become a dangerous commodity, for want of a better expression, for our pockets. Why are the prices still going up? You will explain, yes, exchange rates, global prices, this, that, taxes. But is there any salvation in sight? Let me ask you that. Ms. Amar, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
This is a very difficult one, but I do think that to start, I would need to beg Mr. Agbuado and the transport operators to look at the issues dispassionately and look at it in the broader context of the people that are to be affected. The four issues he mentioned that haven't gone up, he's right. They've all gone up. In fact, insurance has even gone up also within the last quarter. And so their inputs have gone up. Unfortunately, this is a country that would allow an open market situation when it comes to inputs. But when it comes to their end charges or their transport fares, then a certain ministry will pretend to want to superintend over those numbers and will call them to come for a meeting on what they should agree to charge or not charge.
92.7.
Mind you, that practice used to exist in days back when petrol was not actually price deregulated, and that the finance ministry was announcing fuel prices
Right.
through their budget. In this era where things go up day in, day out, you cannot now be compelling these drivers to continuously come for meetings. So we had even proposed to them, long ago, to move towards a more scientific way of arriving at fares that we could all follow. Unfortunately, it looks as though they still want the negotiation. But I have said to my drivers, whom I cherish so much, that adding on to public transport fares often hurts we, the vulnerable and the poor, than the people whose intransigence has led us to where we are. I say intransigence because there are clear things that could have been done to mitigate these impacts that we see on fuel pricing, but nobody cares. In fact, the city can depreciate to any level. The governor of Bank of Ghana will keep his job. Deputy governors will keep their jobs. Nobody gets fired. Nobody gets asked questions. You could wake up, the refinery, it's collapsed completely, it's not working. There's a minister for energy. There's a government that will keep giving promises upon promises. Nothing gets done. And then the focus shifts to something called gold for oil that we believe is the panacea to all our problems. Then the numbers come back to indicate that gold for oil cannot stop these numbers from progressing or going up. Yet, you don't hear anybody take any responsibility. Unfortunately, when the drivers ask to move forward in pricing, then the government will say, come and sit and let's negotiate. So on one hand, we are squeezing them. On the other, my only plea to them is that if they follow the intransigence of the very people at the helm of affairs, they will simply be punishing their own wives, their own children, their own brothers, their own fathers, mothers, uncles, everybody.
But Mr.
Simply
Duncan,
because
Mr.
of the
Duncan,
intransigence of these few people who should have done something and didn't.
Ms. Anwar, they have also made the argument that, look, these statements are always made that, well, let's not look at what officialdom has done so that we don't punish people. But they say we all go to the same markets. And when we get to the markets, they don't think that as drivers, we have not charged them that much. The realities on the ground is not reflected in the prices. So they will reduce, for example, how much a bowl or a basket of tomatoes cost. They take the same amount of money. They manage the same families. They go to the same schools with us. They do go to the same hospitals. So we all day inside, as they see on the streets. Why shouldn't they earn what is the reality? Because you heard the figures that Mr. Agbado was quoting.
You see, I did indicate that the drivers would have every justification to do what they want to do. The only problem here is that the very people complaining of the cost of tomatoes are still the wives of the drivers. It's still the nephews, the uncles, nieces of the drivers. The political figurehead whose intransigence, whose negligence, they don't care. Whose acts of omission, commission, or whatever brings us to where we are. Look, if you like, do the tomato thing for 1,000. Most of them have stolen enough. They can survive. But you and I may not have that purchasing power. And once transport fares go up, there's every tendency that the tomato we say 2 sells for 10 cities or 5 cities or whatever is now going to sell for 1 for 10 cities. And then the hardship continues, the rigmarole continues. And then you end up wondering, what exactly are we seeking to achieve as a people? The political figureheads don't care. And then for us as a people also, we take a cue from them and then we all increase. To what point is the elasticity going to stretch? And I think that maybe 5%, maybe if they should go up, not more than 10%. But if they follow the intransigence of, like I said, officialdom, and say that others are charging, so they would also have to charge, believe you me, we would not get anywhere at all, because the moment they slap charges, the cost of goods and services are simply going to rise again. The people, again, whom these charges they would have targeted, they will not board public transport.
I see.
Your parliamentarians will not board. The ministers will not board. Officialdom at the seat of government, they will not board public transport. So it will come back to all of us, we the vulnerable and the poor. I would not say that they should not increase, but maybe something, marginal, something 5%, something 10%. They should be able to recoup some of their operational expense. But if they follow the pressure that these, the intransigence of these people brings to all of us, 20% will still not be enough, because then they will still have costs to recover. But in the interest of at least helping assuage the plight of the poor, I would say that they should, hasten a bit slowly,
I hear you.
so that we don't end up, overstretching the limits we are today.
Let me ask Mr. Agbado if he takes your plea. Mr. Agbado, you heard Mr. Duncan Amwa. Do you take the plea?
Yeah, we have considered all these things, because the whole thing boils back to us. We have nephews, we have children, we have wives, we have uncles and brothers, as he's saying. But yes, sir, if we didn't do it this way, we will run like how Ayalolo and Co are running. Ayalolo, they get to work when they give them a barrel of crude or fuel before they can work. Meanwhile, it is manageable by somebody. We too, we don't want to go into the same ship. We want to be in business. That's why we are charging this 15%, as you already indicated. But as he's saying that we should do something about it, we should have gone more than the 15%. But we have risen with many people because wages have not been increased.
I see.
That's why we peg it at 15%. But he's also saying something. As I'm speaking to you now, GPRTU calls us yesterday night. The whole night from 7 to 8, 7 to 8 thereabouts. We were at meeting, talking, 6:30 to 8:30 thereabouts. We were still talking about the fair. They are also saying we should come down a bit. They also come out. We are waiting for them. When they come out and we see that, yes, it's good and it's reasonable, we will all join and we will do it. They say they are,
so
as they are saying.
Mr.
So
Agbado,
whilst Duncan is pleading, GPIT also coming with this. When they come, we'll go to where we will be.
You know, usually lorry parks also have markets. You know, in the markets they say, oh, so last price. What is the last price? What was the last price? Let's talk street talk.
It's still the 15%, but we are waiting for our bigger brothers, GPITU.
Oh.
When they come out with BS, we will all go rally behind it and then go.
Oche no cra.
Noni Baba, the GPITU back as you are 20% crowd buyer.
92.7.
I see. Danganamwa, your appeal has fallen into water. Oh. I told you.
Oche no cry.
Eche no.
You see, I keep saying that you don't get to blame the drivers. Really, they offer a service. And like he said, if they are not able to recoup on that service, maintenance is even a problem for them. That also endangers all of us using their services. You sit in the car whose brake pads are worn out. Driver doesn't have the money. He goes to tell the car owner, or if he's the same owner, he doesn't have enough to fix the brake pads. So he says, me Yamaba, he's going, he will come and then try and find some money. He goes to kill people. So it is essential that they are able to at least recover costs and be able to maintain their vehicles. But the only thing I would plead with them is that where the economy sits right now, a lot of us are starving, or virtually. If they should add everything and insist that they would charge 20, 30. It would sound as though they are just numbers. They are doing everything to stay afloat. But the pressure they would add on to themselves and to all of us will not be funny. So, like he said, GPRTU would also sit with them. I'm sure cool heads will prevail. If they come back to tell us they are doing 5%, we'll clap for them. If they do 10%, well, not too bad. 15, I'm sure. If I also had my time with them, I'll be able to prove to them why 10 would have been a bit, okay than they overstretching to 15. So it might go up at some point, but as to how much, we are only pleading that they do not just go add, numbers. And at the end of the day, because your local currency, some of the figures, like if somebody is charging 18 cedis, right, or 19 cedis, the 10 peso often becomes, a subject of whatever. So it ends up at 20 cedis altogether. Then you realize you've even done more than 20, 30%. So maybe they should look at the broader picture. They should consider the pain and suffering of the very poor people who depend on their services and not do an overkill, because the politician who's intransigent would lead us here. They simply don't care.
Mr. Agbado, has the Ministry of Transport made any effort at all since you made this announcement to contact you and have a conversation with you and also plead with you like Mr. Amwa is doing this morning?
No, Minister of Transport or Transport Ministry is not making any effort to meet us. Because it happened the other time in April when we were increasing. He caused the arrest of the drivers and including some of us. But because of that, I don't know if because of that he is feeling shy to call us. But when they call us, we will attend the meeting because we are serving Mother Ghana. The people are in Ghana. They are our customers. They are the people we are picking. So we will not say because the ministry or the minister is not doing well, we will not save our people. We will save them. So when they call us, we will go. But the actual fact is that the things that we are using to run the transport is very, very costly.
So we'll leave it here. Maybe closing thoughts from you, Mr. Duncan Amwa. So the ministry that is also supposed to be supervising them is even not talking. They have said this about 2 days ago. Tomorrow we'll wrap up the week. We'll go into the weekend. Monday morning, the fight will begin at the various transport lorry parks. And it looks like the supervising minister is not seeing what you and I are seeing. Are you worried?
I have said this, and I would repeat. We often elect people who appoint people, and because their appointments don't come from us directly, these appointees often assume omniscience. They know it all. They will not consult. They will not ask questions. You meet with them, and the body language is very offensive sometimes. So for a lot of people, even going to government appointees sometimes is a turn off completely. But we are saddled with a myriad of problems that demand, careful thinking and a strategy to get us out of it. Unfortunately, they are not even consulting to get a solution. So what we do is the bandage on a knee situation, right? Whereas a surgery could have fixed the problem within a short period, you are out of pain.
Right.
You go through a healing process, you are good to go. You don't even see an end in sight to our problems. Meanwhile, there clearly are bolder solutions that we should use. These solutions are not even rocket science. And I'm sure in the next few weeks, some of the solutions will be put out there. You would realize that we've just been lazy, especially with our fuel matter. We've just been lazy. We've just gone to sleep. And where necessary, we've just gone for the money. We've just gone for, let's try and make some money, at the expense of everybody. I have said this. You are in a country that has a strategic stock company called BOST. We reduce that one to a trading point. They should go and buy and come and sell, and we call it all kinds of names, gold for oil. Meanwhile, if you had given them a strategic reserve margin, just 5-10%, whatever, they should be able to buy fuel when somewhere in February prices are dropped to 500, 600. They should be able to stock fuel. When tomorrow you wake up, it's gone to 800. They should be able to sustain them. They won't do these things. Then they come and tell you all the beautiful grammar. They coin all kinds of, things. Anything. And so, as I was told, like I've said, the car is on the slope, the brakes have been removed, the handbrake is also removed. So anytime the wind blows, then the car moves to the direction of the wind. So we are obeying the wind. It is clearly unfortunate, but I don't know when we are going to get out of this quagmire. When the politician would sit down to reason that the Ghanaian does not earn the dollar equivalent in this economy. You go to work 30 days, you get paid 2,000 Ghana cedis, right?
Right.
Less than 100 cedis a day. Yet, if you are to buy fuel alone in a day, just 1 gallon, you are paying almost 70 Ghana cedis. So to drive to work and back as a normal day Ghanaian, it's just, impossible. They don't sit down to look at these things. Then somebody will go and write propaganda somewhere and say that, under a former government, petrol prices, was increased by 400%. This government has increased it by 300%, so it's less. Go to the nominal value. You would realize that we are doing far worse than we should have. 10% of a billion is such an amount.
Right.
Than 100% of 10.
That's correct. That's correct. Mr. Duncan Amoah, thank you very much. Executive Secretary, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. We're grateful. Now, Mr. Agbado, I ask you this question. In April, when you mooted the idea of increasing transport fares, the Ministry of Transport put out a warning, then actually called the police on you and asked that the police should arrest you and all transport operators if you went ahead and increased your rates or your fares. You went ahead and did. The police did not arrest you because you threatened to park your vehicles. Do you expect any threats from the ministry again?
We are not expecting any threat from the ministry. But what we want the ministry to do is to be up and doing. Because in 1992 Constitution, the Fourth Republic, there is nothing like go and sit down with the minister before you charge what you charge. So the police doesn't have any warrant to come and arrest us because we buy the fuel and sell to the consumer. That's why, not that we threaten to park the cars, no. The reason being that they don't have any touch that they will be on or a warrant to come and arrest us.
I hear you, Mr. Agbado.
We are doing the right thing.
Thank you very much. We are grateful that you could speak to us this morning. Thank you so much. John Aguado is the PR of Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana. 2 months ago, when this increment happened, we went out to town. Here's what we found.
What's your name?
My name is Skelele Ayagbede.
Where do you operate from?
I'm operating from Georgia to Accra, Turu.
All right, so your passengers are saying that...
Always my passengers are complaining about their pockets.
Yeah, they are saying that aside the fuel increments, you people have been putting extra on the fare. What do you have to say to them?
Don't put any extra fare. What government brings us from our office, even with a claim, but still with a complaint. Counties to put pressure on our top. Say we should have to do so and so and so. But when you go in and out, we buy fuel more than 1,400. So I was asking the catchers, we want government to reduce everything give us. I beg, every passenger is complaining about the lorry fare. The government make it inside for us. They need to buy something chop. Now Banku serve, they say Banku 1.5 CD. We can't pay. In Chinam, 25 CD for red fish. We don't go feed chop. So we beg for government to reduce everything give us.
All right. Okay, but you say government should reduce. Government is trying, isn't it?
Try like we don't see any government any try only in the increasing because now diesel the liter price is 23 CD 49 pesos now. We don't see any increasing or something like this or low price or not. See the price there we buy every day.
All right, so people say if you're not making profits, why are you still in business?
Oh, this is the job I'm learning from my future. So if I don't do this thing, by all means, I will get some 1 cedi buy food for my children or my wife. But you know they catch. The end of the week, we can't get anything in profit. You will be like that. If you come, the one we get, you spend it. You go, the one we go, you take, you spend it. So we did like that. If the one day sickness come, what you go do? So because of that, we are begging for government.
All right, but do you have hope that things will get better?
That one there, I can't say anything.
So do you have hope, you?
Oh, my hope is my fuel. So if fuel come down, maybe I will get my small chop money. But if fuel go up, my chop money to they go. Because car one they buy fuel give us. If we they buy our fuel. You get me? This is our problem for Ghana now.
All right, the last thing is your passengers say when they talk, you people don't understand, and sometimes you go down into fighting with them. What do you have to say about it?
This station, nobody can fight.
I'm saying, but drivers in general fight with their passengers. What do you have to say about it?
That one I concern about the trotro. If they ask the price, they say it be region. They go national to national, so they make too much argument. Because them today they see the petrol and the liter price, so they know they complain about that, but they complain about the pocket. Say we are seeing it, we are seeing it. I mean, they will be until this is our policy now. Since morning, this is the third car. But formally, we can load 10, 15 cars from here. You see? So now I beg you people to reduce. See, the whole station. This is the second car from since morning. So we get a lot of problems here. But we need to fight with any passengers. I come here 4 days today. I no go. I day here.
So 4 days, you've not had a car? You've not had a full car?
No, not. So we plenty. So we go step by step. So since morning, this one, second car be this. So what time before I'm 17 cars? What time before I will go? So always we get something you have to send to your family. Make you get something chop. Sometimes count out to go take car from you. Last week I know about 2 sets. I tell them say maybe this week I'll make 2 sets, but since Sunday I come. I never go. I'm still here. So how can?
By these 75 cities that we are taking, if you collect all this money, thinking by the time you move from one destination to your final destination, at the end of the day, thinking you'll be able to get something, nothing will be left for you. We are suffering. Honestly, we are suffering. We've complained a lot, but then the government seems to do nothing about it. And we're also looking at him. We are watching. We are all in it. We are all in it.
So we are not making any profits?
Profit is one thing we don't really want to talk about because it's a fact. When you say this, someone like, I think you are lying, but then that is not it. We are not making anything called profit at all. I can show certain things like some load at the back of this car right now. This is my car anyway. Carrying all those things over there. At least when you carry goods, sometimes we charge. But then when you give chargement to the women, they complain. What do they say? They say the fare is high. So for them to pay 75 cedis at the same time, charging them to pay for load, it's not going well with them. So sometimes you need to consider. If you also consider and carry all those things at the back, it serves as insecure loading. So along the way, the police people are on the road. They're also doing their job as well. Yes. Some may ask you to drop all the load. But for you to avoid all these inconveniences, you need to talk with them politely. Yes, for you to be able to escape them. So these are the problems that we are going through. Now we can't even feed our wives. We can't even feed our homes anymore. Yes, we're only working for nothing.
3F.
Just that we also don't want to sit in the house like that because you're a man. And as a man, you have family. You're a responsible man. You need to put food on the table. Yes, so we're all struggling. Just go and come just like that. Yes, just to avoid all this frustration and what have you. So that is the problem, my brother. Since they have refused to reduce the fuel prices, fine. We as individuals, there's nothing we can do. But we all know, I personally believe strongly that one day, there'll be an end to all these things. Yes.
When is that end?
This one question, if I ask you, you say the same thing.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.